Zoe Quinn was forced to leave her home after she received death threats because she'd found herself at the centre of a debate about claims of corrupt relations between some games developers and journalists. Well, a little bit more about this story, first of all, from our technology reporter, Dave Lee.
This gaming event in Nottingham is all about welcoming people in to play and make games in a friendly environment. But elsewhere in the games industry, things aren't quite so pleasant. A vicious war of words and threats are being made online. Some people say it's about ethics in games journalism, but others say that's simply a cover for wanting to intimidate and bully women online. And developer Zoe Quinn has been at the centre of it all. Zoe's former boyfriend posted a 9,000-word blog sharing intimate details of Zoe's private life, including a relationship she had with a games journalist. Some said this was evidence of how games journalism was corrupt and that journalists were too close to the people they were writing about.
He had posted a 9,000-word-long diatribe about how horrible I was and talking a lot about my sex life with pictures and chat logs and all this stuff.
A few people would argue that the net result of some of that is actually that gaming journalism ethics are being looked at in the way they never have done before. I mean, has there been any value to this at all in your eyes?
No. All of the ethics concerns that they've raised are incredibly directed at people with the least power in the industry. Nobody's talking about the relationships between major publishers and press. Any of the real concerns that people should have about ethics in journalism have been completely ignored.
The whole row has become known as GamerGate, and it shows no sign of easing off. Zoe says it's time for major companies to now step in.
The fact that so much of the responsibility is offloaded to the people most harmed by it, when somebody that's in a much safer position than I am can stand up and condemn it, is frustrating. I have a folder on my desktop called Those Who Left, and every time somebody sends me a message saying hey, I really admire your strength, but it's not worth it for me, I'm leaving.
How big's the folder?
It's disturbingly big. That's one of the reasons I can't back down. Because I save these, and I'm going to hopefully go back through it in a few years, and maybe they'll be back.
Well, that report from Dave Lee talking to Zoe Quinn there. Let's discuss this further with the technology and games journalist Guy Cocker, who is with me. Hello, Guy. Thanks for coming in. I mean, this case in particular is obviously pretty depressing. You wish it wasn't happening in 2014. What's your take on this?
Well, I think the thing to take away from this for people that are maybe not as involved in the games industry as I am is that there's a massive disparity still between females who work in the games industry. That number is around 8% in the UK. So it's massively a male-orientated industry. And the amount of female players that are out there these days, it's pretty much 50-50. That's what the research says. So there's still a long way for the industry to go. And unfortunately, events like this make it more and more difficult, I think, for women to want to get into the industry if they think they're going to face this abuse.
I mean, and that is an extraordinary statistic. 8% roughly within the industry are female. And are you talking about across the board, or are you just talking about the people who actually develop the games and write the codes? I mean, why is that figure so low?
Well, I think it's a kind of a chicken and egg scenario, really. You know, traditionally the video game market did skew towards the male audience, and a lot of those games out there, Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto, certainly appeal to a male audience. But in the last few years, a massive audience has grown out of tablet and mobile games that are available to be played on many different devices, and I think that's brought more of the female audience on board. The problem is that female audience is kind of catered to with games like Kim Kardashian's latest game, which has been a phenomenal success, made $200 million in the sort of quarter since launch. But those sort of games don't always appeal to the female audience. So really, as an industry, we need to bring more female game makers and visionaries, but also people that are working in the business in general to kind of broaden the games that are being made for that female audience. And really, this is the GamerGate scenario is the worst possible thing, because women who come into the industry think that they're going to be targeted. And in fact, it's not really just women, it's anyone that identifies themselves as a feminist. And it's a really bad situation. A lot of people are attacking these women, and they're feeling as though that they're not able to give speeches and go and leave their homes. It's becoming very, very serious.
And is it the situation that social media is regrettably making it very, very easy for people to attack women, and that applies, as we have seen, across many, many industries and sections of society. It's not just the gaming industry.
Yeah, I mean, on a personal level, I feel like we should really try and move on from this. But there are a lot of people out there that don't they feel like they maybe don't have a voice, and when they have something like this to rally around and spend their time on social media attacking people, it feels like that's giving them a voice. And the strange thing about this case is there are a lot of right-wing American celebrities who've kind of endorsed this and given people something to rally around, and that's why a lot of people are attacking the likes of Zoe Quinn, who we just saw on that VT, and they're attacking her and saying that they're going to, physically come to her house and attack her, and that's a horrible situation for anyone to be in.
Guy Cocker, thank you very much indeed for your time this afternoon. Thanks for being with us.